Hey everyone, Rick here, and I just got this in the mail, so I decided to do a quick little live unboxing of this brand new game, Dream Crush. Now, it's not necessarily a new game, but it is new to me. However, I did my top 100 list already, of course, and I knew this was coming, but I was pretty sure this was not actually going to make that list. So we can get through this game without actually having, it impact my top 100 games of all time list. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to kind of show off what is all involved in Dream Crush, but also we are going to actually play it and see who the crush of our dreams ends up being. I already kind of unpackaged a lot of this, so we are going to get rid of these. These were the three crushes from last time. We had Armani, Oakley, and Brooklyn. Of course, you don't know who they are at the beginning of the game until we do a few of these things, like asking you on to a dance, and then we find out that Armani's nicknamed Jazzhead, and you go line by line and see if that impacts the way that you, or impacts anything about how you make your final decision. So we have accolades. I should put these on the bottom. We have accolades, aspirations, interests, quirks, and of course, deal breakers. So, who is going to be our dream crush? So we have a huge deck of potential crushes here that we're going to be going through and finding the one for us. So this game came out when? What's the date on here? 2020. So it's actually a couple years old. We have several decks of these tiny little cards for the different, they call them milestones, but they're really just like different events that you may be going on a date for. So like the first one is getting acquainted. That's just, if you think of like any of those dating shows like The Bachelor or whatever, they go on those little excursions to get to know each other. So that's kind of the same premise here. And things ramp up as the game goes on. So you start out just, getting acquainted, then you get wild, then you get serious, then you get, as the game calls it, sticky, and lastly, getting on, whatever that may be. Alright, so look at this huge stack of cards. Holy smokes, that is a lot of cards. Alright, so again, here is, I wish I had a better space to actually put the box off to the side or something. But I want this board to be like right in the center. So that's the most important thing. But we can have the box like right over here. That works too. Alright, so we have this huge stack of potential suitors. And as you can see, there are different pictures on all of them. And we don't know who it's going to be. So we're going to pick 3 randomly out of this. Alright, so let's find out. So potential crush number 1 is going to be Kendall. Number 2 is going to be Harley, and number 3 is going to be Wallace. So place your votes now. Who do you think I'm going to pick? Kendall, Harley, or Wallace? We have no idea what they look like until the end of the game, so we can't just base this on appearance. Like they say, don't judge a book by its cover, so we're not going to judge a book by its cover. We're going to go through these line by line and see what they're all about. So let's get started. Getting acquainted is line number 1. What are we doing? They ask you to go for a coffee. I don't know how easy that is to read, but we are going out for a coffee with each of these. So I'm going out for a coffee with Kendall, and I find out something about Kendall. So while I am going for a coffee with Kendall, I find out that they are nicknamed the Kegerator. Kendall the Kegerator? Are you kidding me? That nickname could not be more perfect for old Kendall. Next, we're going for a coffee now with Harley. And during that coffee with Harley, we find out that they are nicknamed Zuckerberg. What does that mean? I don't know. Does it mean they are a social media tech whiz? Or is it something more nefarious about, Mark Zuckerberg's personality? Lastly, we have Wallace. So while we are on our coffee date with Wallace, we find out that Wallace is nicknamed the Mouth. Oh my gosh. I don't know what that means. It could be any number of things, but that is milestone number 1 complete. We went for a coffee with Kendall, found out they're nicknamed the Kegerator. We went for a coffee with Harley, found out they're nicknamed Zuckerberg, and Wallace is nicknamed the Mouth. We found that out while getting a coffee with Wallace. All right, milestone number 2. So who do you think out of these 3 would you choose, would I choose? That's kind of the whole point of the game. We have these score sheets where you would write down who you want for each of the milestones and who do you think each of the other players playing would want for each of the milestones. And at the end of each of these rounds, you would draw a little heart around any of them that you got right. Whoever guesses the most right by the end is the winner. So it's a super simple game. All right, we're moving on to Getting Wild. They ask you to a wine tasting. All right, so first we went for coffee. Now we're getting wine. And now we find out what their aspirations are. Exactly. Wallace the Mouth. Nikki, we'll find out more about Wallace as the game goes on. But I feel like you're a Wallace person. So I'm going to peg you for Wallace the Mouth. But we're going to find out about Kendall's aspirations now. Kendall invited us to a wine tasting. Kendall's aspiration: wants to become a famous Peloton instructor. All right, in shape, fit. That sounds pretty good for Kendall. Maybe not necessarily what you would have thought after finding out her nickname, him or her. We actually don't know the genders of any of these yet. But, nicknamed the Kegerator, and they're actually interested in being a Peloton instructor. All right, very interesting. All right, so next up, we are going to a wine tasting with Harley. And we find out a little bit more about Harley. Harley is an understudy for one of the puppets in the touring production of Avenue Q. All right. Very interesting. So, touring production. Obviously into theater, but they're going to be away from home. Maybe they take you with them. I don't know, but we'll have to keep that in mind. Wallace is the next one. All right, so we're on a wine tasting with Wallace. What did we find out more about Wallace the Mouth at this wine tasting? Dreams of giving it all up to buy a ranch and sell jerky in Montana. Awesome. Well, Wallace the Mouth is into selling jerky. That makes sense because, obviously food. So after the first round, who would I have picked based on these? I probably would have picked Kendall. The Kegerator, Kendall the Kegerator, I love alliteration, so after round 1, I would have chose Kendall. Round 2, based on these, oh boy, I kind of want to stick with Kendall because they must be in shape if they want to be a Peloton instructor. But this jerky thing, I would have free jerky for life, essentially. So and Mom, I know, so you obviously would probably, I don't think it would matter which one, because we went to a wine tasting with all of them. You would have just loved to be there for the wine. But free jerky for life seems pretty good. So for round 2, I'm picking Wallace. I picked Kendall in round 1. I'm picking Wallace in round 2. But now, round 3, we are getting serious. And what are we doing in round 3? You must enter a dance competition with one crush. All right, so we're going into a dance competition now. And now we are going to find out each of these potential crushes' interests. So, Kendall, what did we learn about Kendall? They wear a small gold cross necklace. Oh, that's kind of cute. And that kind of, honestly, being nicknamed the Kegerator doesn't really fit in with the whole gold necklace cross situation. So I'm almost wondering if maybe the nickname Kegerator is actually kind of just a joke. Maybe she actually is not a big partier. Or maybe the cross necklace is to throw off like family to not understand how much of a party animal she really is. Next up, Harley. So we're entering this dance competition with Harley. The interest is suspiciously knowledgeable about German history. Now, why is that suspicious? Because she's like an undercover Nazi, maybe? Oh, you could almost kind of start getting some conspiracy theory vibes here because her nickname is Zuckerberg. She's suspiciously knowledgeable about German history, but she was an understudy touring with puppets in theater. So Harley, I'm just very confused about Harley right now. But now we find out about Wallace. So we have to enter a dance competition with one crush. Which of these do we want to enter a dance competition with? So Wallace, his interest is he took 3 years of Spanish and pronounces guacamole as guacamole. He likes to emphasize that. All right, very interesting. So, to recap, which of these are we going to choose to go to the dance competition with? Well, Kendall, she has a gold necklace. Harley, and I'm saying he or she, we actually don't know until we flip these over what the gender is. Harley is suspiciously knowledgeable about German history, and Wallace took 3 years of Spanish and pronounces guacamole guacamole. Out of these three, the gold necklace. I mean, she has nice jewelry, evidently. So if I'm basing my decision just on these three, the suspiciously knowledgeable about German history is actually kind of concerning. The 3 years of Spanish would be nice, but the way he or she pronounces guacamole is a little bizarre. So out of these, I'm just going to go with Kendall again. So I'm going with Kendall. Next, round 4, folks. It's time to get sticky. And what does that mean? One crush must control the radio for the entire duration of the road trip. So we are going to put out 3 quirks this time, and we're going to see which one we would want to control the radio based on these quirks. All right. First up, Kendall's quirk is they let you know whenever you do something that reminds them of their ex. Oh, God. That does not sound good. Kendall took a sharp left turn with that one. I'm not so sure if I'm a huge fan of that. And Harley's quirk is that they are not sure what they're vaping, but it smells like bubble gummy. All right. Very nice. They're, those fruity, I've never vaped personally, but every once in a while when you're around someone who does and you catch a whiff of that fruit smell, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's definitely better than getting reminded every 5 minutes that you're reminding them of their ex. And then Wallace's quirk is that while drunk, they ask strangers to hit them as hard as they can. Wallace the Mouth, mind you. So Wallace sounds pretty tough. Whoever Wallace is, they're nicknamed the Mouth, whether that means something physically about their mouth or that they just have a mouth on them. Maybe they swear like a sailor, and they want to buy a ranch and sell jerky in Montana, and they took 3 years of Spanish, and they want strangers to hit them when they're drunk. Wallace is a whole vibe. Harley is just confused, and Kendall had me up until this last one. Oh my gosh. I'd have to pick Harley for this one. Harley's quirk was the least offensive of these 3. Nikki, I know, see, I knew, and that's why I'm going with Wallace for you, Marciano, maybe Wallace for you too, since you like the whole guacamole situation. But now it's time for round 5. This is the final round, so you have to lock your votes in now because we are getting on, which means one crush must give the toast at your sibling's wedding. All right, so, and obviously if you don't have a sibling, you can, have it be at a different relative's wedding. So who are we going to want to give a toast based on these? And these are the worst. These are the deal breakers. All right. So Kendall's deal breaker is that they ride one of those really tall bikes around town to get attention. I assume that's like the huge front wheel with the little tiny rear wheel. That would be kind of annoying. I honestly don't necessarily think that's much of a deal breaker, though. All right, moving on to Harley. Harley's deal breaker is big time fedora person. Harley seems very interesting. You almost want to just leave it at that. Harley is an interesting one. They apparently wear fedoras all the time. They are suspiciously knowledgeable about German history. They're nicknamed Zuckerberg. They tour with theater production. Harley's a very interesting one. All right, last but not least, what is Wallace's deal breaker? Wallace writes angry Yelp reviews that always end with, "You just lost a customer for life." Oh, God, no, not one of those. Not Wallace. No, how could you, Wall? The Mouth? That's probably why he or she's nicknamed the Mouth, because they leave with that last line on Yelp reviews. "You just lost a customer for life." All right, so if I had to pick one of these 3 to give a toast at my sister's wedding, who would it be? Kendall. It would have to be Kendall. I don't want someone who ends their Yelp reviews with, "You just lost a customer for life," doing the toast at my sister's wedding. Well, actually, maybe I would, because then they would probably say something kind of hilarious, at least memorable, right? So that is it. That's all 5 rounds of Dream Crush. So after each of these rounds, we would have gone around to say who each of us picked, and you'd do a little heart around any of the ones you got right. So after 5 rounds, you count up how many hearts you have, and that is that. And you'd have to see who won. So if I had to choose based on each of these columns, I'm going to say, first of all, Harley's out. I'm completely uninterested in Harley. They are nicknamed Zuckerberg, have a suspicious knowledge about German history, and they wear fedoras all the time. I'm not a fan of Harley. So who did we pass on? We passed on Harley. Who? Looks like that. Oh my gosh, Harley is freaking gorgeous. Whoops. Well, we may have made a big mistake, but that's why you do not look at that. Again, you don't judge a book by its cover. Harley had some very interesting things going on here, but we passed on Harley. So Harley, I'm sorry, goodbye. Thank you for coming. And now, who is left? We have Kendall and we have Wallace. Oh, man, I think Wallace lost me at the angry Yelp reviews. Also, obviously, while drunk, they ask strangers to hit them as hard as they can. That would be kind of fun to watch from a distance, but not someone I want to be in a relationship with. So we have passed on Wallace, and Wallace is this. Here's Wallace. There's Wallace, the Mouth. When drunk, asks strangers to hit them as hard as they can, writes angry Yelp reviews, and ends with, "You just lost a customer for life." I can see that. That's Wallace. Sorry, Wallace. Thank you for coming. But Nikki may have a future with Wallace. But then, here's who we picked. This is the winner. Out of the 5 categories we went through, this is who we ended up choosing for Dream Crush. This is our Dream Crush, Kendall. Here's Kendall. Actually, Kendall's gorgeous. I am very happy with our final decision. We are going home with Kendall. So that is it, folks. That is Dream Crush. A very simple, very fast game. Just got it in the mail today. Again, I did my top 100 list before getting this. Even though I knew this was coming, just because I was pretty sure it wasn't going to make the list, it probably still wouldn't. It's just a very light, simple, kind of a party game. It plays up to 6, though, which is fantastic. But that is it. In the end, we went with Kendall. So that is Dream Crush. All right, folks, that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. I do truly appreciate it. And until next time.